Nintendo versus Sega, the true battle of the ages. And both sides fought back with some of their most iconic characters. There's Sonic, Kirby, Mario. What other mascots does Sega have that isn't Sonic again?
And what about outside the games? The world of extended media made a lot of classic characters, like these two polar opposites of their respective consoles.
Segata Sanshiro, defender of the Sega Saturn.
And Abobo, the SNES bringer of destruction.
I'm Demon and he's Archer.
And it's our job to analyze these characters to their fullest, going through their feats and faults to see what happens when these two fictional characters collide.
Back when Sega was still making consoles, they were a heavy hitter of many underrated ones, like the Sega Genesis. This console was slowly dying to its competitor known as the Nintendo 64. Sega needed a miracle.
Enter a lone fighter with a large Sega Saturn and controller on his back with one simple goal. Play the Sega Saturn or you will lose all your teeth. And who was this mascot of Fury? That legend was none other than Segata Sanshiro.
Segata Sanshiro! Segata Sanshiro!
Second Segata came onto the scene, the sales of the Saturn skyrocketed because of his amazing business strategy. Second he sees you not playing a Saturn, he gently comes up to you and beats you to an inch of your life until you fucking play that Saturn. He's just about everything he needs to make sure you do.
He's a master martial artist, mainly with judo. He has superhuman strength, being able to toss folks around like nothing, which causes them to explode on impact somehow. Twice. How is that?
He can run on ice barefoot, chucked a full person again to score a winning goal at a soccer game, took out an entire club of people with 3 submission takedowns, and even kicked a baseball to make a home run. Can take multiple other baseballs to the chest, and even more.
And he can even multiply himself into an army and even change his size as much as he wants. And when he isn't fighting, he trains on a giant Sega Saturn controller. Might even be an answer to his great power.
Wait. So everyone was wrong? If I can play video games like this man all my life, I can do wacky stuff?
Not now, Demon. These are just Hey, stop it! That's my PS5! You know how many scalpers I had to fight for the- Ah!
I just learned that's not how you get stronger. My bad.
Segata is a martial arts master, an expert of disguising himself so stealthily he can break into people's homes with no issue, and all of this just to help Sega's dying console. And surprise surprise, it did, with the Saturn for a good while beating the sales of the Nintendo 64 back in Japan.
And Nintendo, being the oh-so-reasonable folks they are today, decided they will take the L and reward Sega. With a missile going straight to their headquarters. You know what that sounds like, though.
But because he's Segata, he did the impossible. He jumped off the top of the Sega building, landed on the rocket, stopped it right on the glass of Sega headquarters, and steered it right into space.
And then he kinda died. Gotcha! You see, he actually survived this and kept kicking ass for years, probably thousands of years with all the Archie comic stuff. But then he settled down with this game character he married, yes he did that, and then he had a son named Segata Shiro, who did the most gnarly feat in the series. During a training session with his old man, he grabbed Sanshiro and tossed him so far and fast, he went straight to Saturn and caused this massive explosion.
Given that the distance between Earth and Saturn is around 792 million miles apart, and for Shiro to toss his dad there in only 2 seconds, that would take him to travel around 7,493 times the speed of light. But for Sanshiro to also take a hit, we have to measure the explosion. The length of Saturn to our knowledge is around 68,000 miles, and given the full explosion is 208 miles long, which would make that Sanshiro survived 4.67 exatons. Enough to destroy a continent hell, maybe even a few, which in general doesn't make sense, since Saturn itself is made of gas, so causing an explosion and a crater is impossible.
But despite all that strength, he couldn't save Sega for long. Saturn soon became the final console of the company and slowly started a downward spiral, which they're still handling with today. Which then led Segata to go into hiding, buying his time, until someone new can take his place, that being his son. Hopefully he's bringing Sega back into its former glory his father brought to them years ago. I guess Sega can always rely on the Wandering Master family for generations to come.
Murder! Guts! Bloodshed! All these things perfectly describe the mass-murdering juggernaut of the SNES character Abobo.
And Gaia have mercy on your soul when you mess with him, and definitely with his son Aboboy. Cause this mountain of muscle will stop at nothing, no matter how many bodies he has to drop to get his son back. Wait, isn't this guy like a double dragon's cannon fodder? Where did he become badass?
Well, yes, he is originally from that series. We will be tackling the fan game Abobo Big Adventure, where he is the main focus. Trust me, it's a lot more interesting, so we'll only be focusing on the events and feats from said game, and maybe Abobo's small adventure if needed. So strap on folks, this is gonna get nuts.
Yeah, cause we are going to the edgy world of the internet called Newground Games. All your favorite games like, I am old.
Sorry folks, but Demon had a really bad childhood. He never witnessed the greats of the last two eras. A shame, really.
Hey, I had better things to do with my immortal life.
Like?
Well, during this red-covered adventure, he created a killer arsenal of game references that I totally know at first glance, which also affects the bit styles, he said. 8-bit, 16-bit, you name it. He has no 2-bit arsenal, I'll tell you what. He has the guns from Contra, a Mega Man suit along with a Mega Buster, put on Link's outfit, remember him. He gains a sword, shield, and even bombs.
He gains an aquatic shield and kits he got from, doing a mermaid, which can count as extra pieces of health and extra damage, but then we get to his truly good stuff. Once his rage reaches a certain limit by taking or dealing enough damage, he can tap into his rage moves. Like with Rocky Rage, he jumps into the air and drops large rocks at the enemy. Typhoon lets him spin so fast he makes, well, Typhoon.
Super Slash makes him extend his sword for heavy damage. Death Blossom lets him spin at such great speeds while firing lasers at all directions. He can summon a plane to carpet bomb the battlefield, fire discount Hadoukens, and even summon a team of wrestlers to cause this one large area explosion.
Given the arena is around 386 feet, and assuming the explosion is around the same length of said arena, he would be outputting nearly around 30.41 tons of TNT. Enough to eradicate an entire city block, and that's nothing compared to his ultimate weapon, the Power Glove.
It just gives him a power boost for just being so damn bad. Which he just doesn't need given the other feats he can do. He can splatter heads with simple punches, can survive explosions that send him into a hole, destroy giant mechs and more. Heck, he killed Kirby, Little Mac, and even Samus Aran.
Well, issue is these are based in the SNES versions of the characters and also not official incarnations of them, so we can't fully scale them to their official versions. Now, back on track, let's look back at that arena explosion. During it, Abobo jumped to the moon and back in a matter of 12 seconds, meaning he would be moving at around 18,908 miles an hour, basically nearly 2 times the speed of light.
Yeah, who cares if he's a very low intelligence wall of meat? When can you take out all these powerhouses, huh? At the end of it all, Abobo did save his son, and they celebrated in the only way they can, by a full-on murder spree of everyone there, which leads to the world's basically ending. Which comes to tell you that only a few things are immortal in this world. Death, taxes, and Abobo's never-ending bloodlust. Gods have mercy if you ever are forced to face this man's wrath.
Okay, the combatants are set, let's end this.
Will Segata show Abobo the power of the Saturn, or will Segata face a gruesome game over?
It's time for these two fictional characters to collide.
So I said, look, you can call me manager, cause I'm running shit.
That's crazy.
No, wait!
Damn it, I ran out of continues again. Oh well, this game cheated anyway.
This was an interesting fight to debate. Abobo was a lot more brutal in fighting and has a more unpredictable and wider choice of weapons and moves, and has a history of beating more trained fighters like Little Mac.
But that's when everything starts turning to the funny Karate Man. Well, Abobo had a much more deadly arsenal, he just couldn't damage Segata at all. Let's look at Segata surviving that Saturn explosion to Abobo's arena collision. Segata, as we said before, needing to survive that explosion would be around 4.67 exatons of force, while Abobo needed to generate around 30.41 tons of force, making Segata's durability over thousands of times higher than whatever Abobo can dish out. And remember, this should also be able to be usable as attack potency for Segata, since he scales to his son Shiro, who didn't, and he trained his son most likely his entire life.
He was also much faster. Abobo's leap to the moon was around 1.98 times the speed of light, which is impressive, but not compared to how fast it took him to get to Saturn at around 7,493 times the speed of light, making Segata at least 3,700 times faster than him. Abobo wasn't just not going to be able to damage Segata, he most likely wasn't going to be able to touch him.
And lastly, while Abobo has beaten trained fighters like Segata, if you follow the Archie comics, have been training for thousands of years, having way more experience fighting anyone than any of Abobo's victims, making it more likely he can plan around anything Abobo throws at him and return the damage tenfold.
Abobo was truly a dangerous and tricky opponent for the hero of the Saturn, but Segata was just too strong, too durable, too fast, and way too experienced for this brutal man to keep up with.
I guess in the end, he was a Bobo.
The winner is Segata Sanshiro.
Sega Saturn.
Next time on Fictional Characters Collide.